Place. I know he looks like you. And it's important not to add any unnecessary tension here, right? We train, we don't restrain. Whole point is not that he doesn't make a mistake or move a muscle. Whole point is that if and when he does, I'm there to give him that appropriate feedback, right? So you could tell ears up, tail's kind of up and goofy. So like alert and social, a little stress yawn. You could tell she's a little stressed too, but she's more socially curious. There you go. And then this is why I use her, because dogs tend to mirror each other the same way an inappropriate dog will mirror an inappropriate dog. An appropriate dog will, mirror this behavior. Okay. So he's still in the Sphinx position. I want to wait for him to roll over onto one of the hips. There it is. Yeah. Right? He's a paid actor. Yeah. So now ears pinned back. He's like, still visibly stressed. I want to, again, I could let them introduce right now, but there's still a hint of behavioral, right? So I want to nurture it to the best of my abilities. She's already chill. I can tell that soft pant. He's a little avoidant, looking back for reassurance. Yeah. And look, it'll probably be more likely with humans than with dogs, right? But if he gets to this point where he's just not settling down or it's just too much, I wouldn't even worry about the introduction layer. I would worry about getting this down first, putting him up, bringing him out, putting him up, bringing him out until it's a default, then move on to the introduction layer. Because that can wait, and we can always do it when it's ready.
I'm so surprised he didn't put up more of a fight before getting into this position, because in the past, anytime we see another dog this close, like the excitement is real, like he's about to get on a roller coaster, like just is super vocal, really trying to pull to get to them.
Good. Okay. Aurora, free. So both tall, confident posture. He's a little horny, a little over arousal going on. Off. So that's play. Odds. So you see him get on the place bed. So that's no different than the landing on the stairs, right? He's getting up on a higher position of the high ground, right? I don't want that. I also don't want you guys, because affection, right? Attention, affection, possessiveness of owners can definitely be a factor in a dog fight. So like when she was there, I wouldn't have allowed him to come close.
When she did come sit in front of me just now, I looked at his face and his eyes got like...
Right. Yeah, because he's like, what the fuck are you doing over there by my peoples? Mm-hmm. But now you see her, she went back, she's like, all right, whatever, dude. Dude, Aurora, what are we doing? You see him like licking his lips, going after her butt, right? So like very intact male thing to do. Aurora. So again, no pressure. I don't want to add any unnecessary tension.
The look in his eyes is like there's a big juicy chocolate cake in front of him.
Yep. And this is just horny male behavior. She's spayed, she's not intact, but He can still smell the pheromones and the hormones. That's a little husky. It's the Spider-Man meme.
Well, I think even just the social interaction, not even like the horniness, but just the interaction with another dog like this, I think is like, it's excitement all around.
Yeah. So right there, did that look familiar at all? Aurora, off. Can you close the crate door for me, please? Did you see that T posturing?
No.
Remember that story you told me about the guy that got humped? That's exactly what was about to happen.
Oh, you mean when he was kind of like coming around?
When he put his head kind of over her shoulder a little bit. Well, he was thinking about it for sure. He was posturing. So a lot of value here. Crate, dad, free.
I see what you mean. So I'm thinking back to the instances before, like in the dog park or something, when he would try to hump a dog, he would get like his chin over their back, like right where their tail was before he would actually start to jump on them.
So now what is my dog saying? What is she saying? I've had enough.
Yeah, she's like calm, ready to go back to her place where this whole interaction started.
Right. She's like, hey, he's being too much. I want to remove myself from the situation, so I'm going to do something I know you like. So now that I see her doing that, I have to stop him from interacting with her. Because if she's giving the effort to be like, I want to disengage from this, and then he's persistent and pursues her, then that could lead to a correction bite. Right. And so now this forces him to calm down again, right? Once they're both settled, we'll run it back and we'll see if there's a difference.
Because I'm betting if you didn't separate them just now and you allowed him to keep going at her, then she would be forced to create separation.
She would definitely snap at him, and then he'd be like, oh, why are you snapping at me? And right. So again, Sphinx position. I mean, I love what I see, but he's in the Sphinx position. So I want to wait for the hip to roll over. How would you guys, what do you think about that first interaction? What would you rate it on a 1 to 10? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
I think I would say like maybe a 6.5, 7.
Yeah, I'd give it a solid 7.
It's better than the dog interaction he's had before, but I think it could be better in just him, like his reaction to her trying to, like thinking about maybe trying to hump her, or his energy just being really high, but at the same time I feel like I can't fault him for that since it's the first time he's really had this in
Right.
a long time.
The whole 10 weeks he's been around dogs, but it's always been neutral. You don't get to interact. Now this is the first time he gets to interact, and then there's that over arousal that's hormonally fueled, right? The testosterone and everything, and then there's the social aspect of it where like he does want to play, but then there's the conflict of, well, I feel this way, and then I mean I don't know if there's any validity to this, right? But like I'm sure they're like, hey, you look like me, like, you know.
We've seen him in the past, the other huskies that kind of look like him, and you can tell he's like,
Yeah.
wait a second, are you playing?
Good boy. And so what I'm also doing is I'm building trust, right? And I'm understanding like, okay, I can trust you in this situation. So when I feel comfortable, I'll drop the leash, right? And then that's one step closer to allowing him to have an off-leash interaction with another dog. But you guys don't have a multi-dog household, and you're not going to be having any play dates, so it's not a huge concern. But I do want you to be able to recognize his body language and what certain things mean. Aurora, free?
Is she really vocal?
Not really. Off. There's that posturing right there. Right. So there, she corrected him and I corrected him. Just you see how her corrections are not inappropriate, right? Aurora, off. Come here. So he gets insecure in those moments, and I don't want him getting up on a higher ground.
So when you kept correcting him just now, he immediately was looking at Angel like almost for guidance.
Right. Off. Leo, So like, look, he's there. It's there. The recipe for it is there, right? Like you can definitely see when he gets testy and when he's like, I think I want to keep pushing the limit, right? And all it takes is that guidance, that supervision. So again, I'll layer it. She put herself back on place. We'll settle him. But did you see it building up? When I was like, look, he's about to do it. And then what did she do? Bam, fuck off me, right? Trying to cop a feel, you got smacked, homie. Good girl. And can you tell when my dog gets insecure or when she's like, all right, I'm overwhelmed?
She put her ears back and then either went over there, like was trying to like put herself in a smaller place.
Put backing up again, like, hey, help me out, right? Okay, and that's what I've trained her to do. Anytime she feels she needs to be advocated for, she'll come right up to me, push up against me, sit, look at me, like, hey, get your boy before I get him, right? And that's why this is such a good relationship that we have. It's a good working relationship. And I've never let her get attacked. I've never let anything bad happen to her. So, and this stresses her out too. She's almost a 10-year-old dog, right? And then he weighs more than her. She's probably like, I don't know, 55, 60 pounds. And they're not too far off. Isn't it crazy how they almost weigh the same, but he looks way bigger than her? Okay, and you see how much quicker she settles down than it takes him to settle down? So I want to do one more before I put him up, just because that last one, there were some corrections involved, and I don't want to end it there. You still tell, like you see his nose going, the locking on, huh?
Pretty like harder than just a soft one.
Yep.
He's got his back legs tucked up under him, ready to.
There it is. And so this is just him processing. Like he's just like thinking about it, like pondering. Questions, comments, concerns while we wait?
Actually, one question unrelated to this, but when he's back home after this, when he's back home after this, and it's kind of like the 30-day like reset period. So walking wise, like going out and starting that like full routine, we should wait until the end of that 30-day period, or incorporate that like going on walks, incorporate that earlier.
The 30-day reset helps you establish the routine, right? It's kind of like a systematic week by week step process for you to be able to integrate him back into the home, back into privileges, all that stuff. And so I would say week one would be the most regimented, structured. he can have walks in week 1, but very short walks, like, and it's going to be very structured. It'll be like 95% structured, 5% leisure, right? And the 5% is just letting him poop, and then the rest is heel back.
Short, kind of like the length of the one we had earlier.
Right. Right. I would walk him on the 6-foot leash. The 10-foot leash, I would wait, or the longer leash, I would wait till like week 2, week 3, once you get a better flow going.
Earned it.
Right.
To show he can be on it.
And you get your leash handling down, because you saw how hard it was to get that, and that's just 10 feet. That's just an extra 4 foot of leash, right? Aurora, free? Come here. So he's self-correcting there. Do you see it? He's going to try it again. So this is posturing. Get him, Juge. Get him. Ah, good boy, Lee. That's with an attitude. Yeah. But do you see how much more appropriate that? How much clearer was that to Leo? Right? And on the second one, he did it, and then he's like, "Nah, let me not." He's a knucklehead. Okay.
Like wherever gonna get him back. So now to be at this point, it kind of feels like surreal a little bit, because it's everything we always hope for, but getting here was so much harder than I think we ever really thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and that's why I went so hard for y'all, right? Because it's like I rarely get effort like this from clients, and even clients that have dogs that are not even half as bad as he was, right? They're just like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to keep him on leash. And you're like, I'll do anything to keep this dog alive, and not even in a delusional way, in a very like responsible way. And so I don't know. I mean, call it, I don't know, a hero complex, whatever. But like the moment you called me, I could tell how overwhelmed he was. And I was like, I got to do whatever I can. And I was even willing to go, because there's a certain limit, right? There's a certain type of dog I won't take, or a certain type of case I won't take. I don't think Leo was ever that. But just not knowing what I didn't know, I was like, do I even want to bring this liability onto my property? And you know, and
sure, as crazy as it all sounded and everything you had to jump through, it probably came off like it was a hell of a lot more like severe and serious than it truly was.
Well, as soon as you started showing me the evidence and I started reading testimony, I was like, no, ain't no fucking way. Like, because so like in law enforcement, they teach you like forensic analysis, blood splatter, you know, the case shell or the shell casings of the bullets. Like it kind of paints the crime and what happened. And so as soon as I read what happened, you told me what happened, I looked at the actual bites, I'm like, this shit isn't adding up. And then I met him, and I'm not gonna lie, at pickup, I was like, okay, yeah, that's a problem. But then as soon as he came here, it was like night and day. He didn't try anything. He was just happy to be able to stretch his legs and go on a walk. And I'm like, yep, first poop as a free man.
And I think that's why we fought so hard for him, because we knew like who he was. So we kind of just like trusted that, and just kind of needed somebody with expertise to kind of like reaffirm that for us. So.
Yeah.
And I guess with all that being said, like how hard it was getting to this point, at the same time, it's like I'm kind of grateful for it too, because I think had any of those initial people we spoke to committed to it, I can't say that we would have had the same success. So I'm honestly glad that they just said out front, like, actually, yeah, I'm not the right person, find somebody else, because ultimately we ended up with you, and I think that is what made a lot of difference.
Yeah. No, and I'm glad. I think it was Cynthia with a Better Bond Dog Training that recommended you. Yeah, and this is why I always try to network with other trainers, and like, hey, if you ever get a dog that you don't feel comfortable with, send them my way. At the very least, I'll evaluate them. Right? That's my baseline. I will, at the very minimum, evaluate your dog and try to understand your situation. I won't tell you no over the phone just because they've bitten, just because somebody's been hospitalized. And I'm glad that it worked out the way it did, because it definitely would have been a shame for him to go out that way. So we got our Cinderella story after all. And look, we're halfway there. It's still not over, right? We still have a little bit of time before we're out of the woods. But I think it's safe to say that we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? So I appreciate your guys' trust in me and your faith in me, and I appreciate you sticking it out. And I look forward to seeing Leo live out the rest of his life as a good boy.
Because he's still got a lot of life left to live.
For sure.
The husky lifespan is
like 12 to 15 years. Sometimes they can go over, but 12 to 15 years is that sweet spot.
He's literally barely a quarter.
Yeah. And at the time he would have been put down, he would have still had over a decade of life left. Right. So it's a shame. And from that first, like I'm telling you, from that first walk, it was just like, he was like, okay, I'm cool. I'm not going to do it. Y'all are great. This is awesome.
And to not have been changed by that is incredible.
I
was so sure he was going to come out and be like, never again.
The first thing Grove said to me on the phone was, I don't know how you feel about, I don't know what she called it. It was like kennel crazy or something, where like dogs are in a kennel environment for so long that they just don't bounce back from it. Yeah, she's like, I have my own opinions on that, but I don't know how you feel about it. And I was like, well, I'm sure that's going to be an element that I'm going to have to work through and consider, but until I see it, I'm not going to rush to judgment. And right, it was never an issue, because he literally went from one kennel environment to another, except my kennel environment is much more neutral and composed versus that kennel environment. And then there's a routine here, and there, you get to do things. And so that was definitely surprising for me. I definitely thought that was going to be more of a challenge. I think I even said it in the first videos. It was like, it's not just what happened before and after, it's what happened during. And then it ended up being a non-issue.
When she would tell me the same, when we were first trying to set up you going on site to do the evaluation, she was kind of trying to, it almost felt like she was trying to already change my opinion again to get us to give up, I guess. I don't know. But she definitely made it sound like, from what she was observing, she had concerns about his behavior, his demeanor, his mindset, etc. And a couple times I was thinking, I would ask her, well, what have you seen? Has he done something? Has he tried to bite somebody else? And it was always no. Okay, so then what are you basing the opinion on? Why are you telling me all this? There was never anything to back it up other than just her own, oh, these are my thoughts.
Yeah. I missed that.
He's aggressive with the way,
yeah.
So gentle with the bite.
Good boy. Sit. Sit. Pull up a little bit on the leash. Let me get one of him sitting.
Leo, sit.
Leo, sit. Oh, he did the down again. Good. Oh. I'm not crying, you're crying.
Are you gonna miss him?
Yeah, what do you mean? I just spent 10 weeks.
Like a puppy pit bull mix.
Mm-hmm.
And he was asking about training and stuff, but I didn't know what kind of programs and stuff you offer.
Well, everything starts with the consultation. So if he's interested in figuring out what the best options for him are, have him fill out, go to my website, fill out my form, and then we'll start with the consult. We'll start with the consultation and go from there. Hey, knock it off. Yeah. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns for me before you guys head out? No.
Just tell Kevin, your wife, everybody, tell them thank you.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We appreciate y'all.